Hey everybody, my name is Masterofroflness and welcome to the top upcoming strategy games of 2017 and 2018. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, and if you disagree with any of my choices, then you can write them down in the comments below, and make sure you pay attention to the screen as I will direct you to certain videos that will be able to show off the gameplay of the games that I'm talking about here. Without further ado, here we go. At the number 10 slot, we have Spellforce 3. Now, this was a game that I actually played a lot of in the alpha and beta version. Unfortunately, as of the time of this recording, it is not the full release yet, but essentially this is a fantasy RTS game with 3 factions: elves, humans, orcs. And I gotta say, the differences between these factions are very well done, and I like the resource system a lot. It's varied, and there's finite resources, so you have to battle over territory. There's neutral monsters and creeps and neutral civilians you can engage with. And the armies, I don't think I've talked about this, but the armies can get fucking massive. Huge! Wow, it's like incredible. And with these giant lumbering trolls and stuff engaging in the battles, it feels like a fantasy subcom, which is weird. It's very weird. The description, of course. Now, this is only at the number 10 slot because, like I've said, I've played this beforehand, and so I'm not really as excited about it as the other games, and this is mostly a list just talking about what I'm excited for and stuff, rather than any faction stuff. If you want to see that sort of shit, you can go into like my top 10 RTS games 2017, but that hasn't happened yet. Probably should do this at some point. Here's hoping for more of them demon factions and those other crazy factions that came from Spellforce 2's expansion packs. At the number 9 slot, we have Age of Empires Definitive Edition. Age of Empires 1 was one of my first RTS games growing up. That and of course Armament RTS. Now, if Age of Empires Definitive Edition is just a rescaling of Age of Empires 1 for the modern age, much in the same way as StarCraft Remastered, and this game is already going to be at my number 9 slot. I love Bronze Age civilizations. I love the, a lot of the gameplay of the Age of Empires games, and I think the only problem that, Age of Empires 1 had was probably that its graphics and its UI were too obtuse for a modern audience, but scaling that up for the modern age with HD graphics, 4K resolution, all that shit, I feel like that would make it a lot more engaging to play around with. I guess my only gripe with it is probably the nature of definitive editions and how I want to see new RTSs instead of like old ones just rescaled, but it's always nice to see a classic. At the number 8 slot, we have Surviving Mars. Now, why did I pick this game? It is a city builder after all. Well, number 1, it's a city builder on Mars, so how can you fucking not love the game just right off the bat? I think the biggest problem with city builders is the fact that they very rarely have enough challenges that really make the player feel rewarded when completing them. And also varied enough that the player has to engage in multiple different ways in order to complete those challenges and stuff. Whereas in this game, by having it on Mars or on any desolate wasteland, you make the game infinitely harder and more rewarding to try and dominate the landscape over. And I think like having stuff like sandstorms and stuff would be really cool to see on Mars, in a Martian game that is. Now obviously there is video footage right here, gameplay footage, including trailer footage of the game. So if you want to get a better opinion of it, you can definitely click on the trailer. I'll have it down below in the description. At the number 7 slot, we have Frostpunk. This is a game that largely has the same reasons for being on the slot as Surviving Mars, in that you're surviving a desolate wasteland, trying to make it survivable, habitable, except with Surviving Mars, it's more to spread humanity's influence and lead us on a golden path of space exploration. In this game, you're just trying to survive. It's post-apocalyptic, everything is shit. Sometimes you need to abort the babies, sometimes you need to eat the babies. Like, it really depends on the situation at hand, and I really like that aspect of it. Post-apocalyptic games can definitely be great strategy games, and I feel like Frostpunk is one of the prime examples of this. Now, we do see a little bit of gameplay in this trailer here, so if you guys want to, you can look at the trailer here, and it might give you a better idea of what to expect, but it is a small glimpse. Next on our list would be Anno 1800, a gaming franchise that I wasn't really excited for the sci-fi entries, but this historical game I'm pretty excited for. I like the 1800 period. It reminds me of that movie The Last Samurai with that actor Tom Cruise, And so I really would enjoy playing around as a city or as a colony, buying and trading resources with different colonies in the 1800s. Stuff like steam engines and railroads would be extremely interesting to play around with all the politics of different nations trying to influence you and stuff. It would be really cool to see and interact and stuff. And just for food for thought over here, I fucking love historical RTS games a lot more than sci-fi, so I am super skewed on this. At the number 5th slot would be Ancestors. Now, I have seen a little bit of gameplay of this, but this is essentially a Viking RTS where they take a lot of the mechanics of Men of War and Company of Heroes and apply them to a medieval fantasy game. Now, or not a medieval fantasy game, a medieval historical RTS game. I don't know if it's fantasy yet. I'm not sure if you get to fight like any of the Norse gods or anything like that. There's a little bit of a mistake there. But I would be very interested to see like how this game develops actually, as Ancestors having gameplay mechanics of Company of Heroes 2 and Men of War. I think they're more akin to that of like, you know, firearms type warfare, but we'll have to see how it works out for medieval type warfare, especially in the Viking age. So maybe long ships will play a big role in this game. There'll be different island maps that you'll have to land troops onto and then like get off really, really fast in order to have these like duels where you're fighting on land and then at sea and maybe like on top of each other's ships trying to board each other. It'd be really cool to see this like Viking warfare really play out. I wonder like what factions are going to be brought in. Will we have like stuff like Anglo-Saxon kingdoms, or will we perhaps see like the Seljuks? I don't fucking know. That would be really cool to see. At the number 4 slot, we have Ancient Cities. Now, Ancient Cities is a caveman RTS game. I never thought I would ever see the day that a caveman RTS game would come out. And unfortunately, you can't hunt down dinosaurs and stuff and go all Flintstones on them. Maybe go into Power World and stuff and like ride dinosaurs and have cannons on top of them and shit. But instead, what you can do is you can build up your little village, trade with different like neighboring like caveman kingdoms, maybe wage war against them. You can hunt down for saber-tooth tigers. You can fight down like, I don't know, mammoths and shit. Maybe even like domesticate mammoths. I know that's like impossible, but still, that would be really cool to see. And I think ultimately cavemen and the prehistory time period is a really cool, I guess, like period to really engage with. Like the deeper back you go into history, you can have like all sorts of like crazy what if scenarios to go about, like making like cavemen have like alien powers or psychic powers or some shit like that. Maybe even going Conan the Barbarian on their asses. I would love to see a Conan the Barbarian game, but for a city builder with a caveman like theme attached to it and a realistic focus where you're buying and trading resources from different kingdoms, or not kingdoms, different like caveman tribes, and then also on top of this foraging for resources and stuff. I think that would be really engaging to see play out. At the number 3 spot would be ZeroAD, a game that's been in development for a long time, a long time. There's been multiple alphas. They've all been free, of course. Anybody can download them, so you're welcome to obviously share in and play ZeroAD and have your own opinions on it. Now, when the game is finally released, I'll finalize my viewpoints on the game, but it has been very much like continuing its development so with such a dedication to it that I really like admire the development of ZeroAD a lot. Actually, there's so many different factions attached to it. There's many different mods that have already sprung out that encompass like China and you know, old Bronze Age civilizations, that I gotta wonder like, damn, this game, this engine can be really something special. And even the guy who's interested in, you know, developing for Hyrule Total War has actually left the Medieval 2 engine and has actually been porting over his Hyrule Total War assets over to ZeroAD. So we'll even see like a fantasy RTS aspect of the game's engine. I think ultimately you don't really need to see any trailer for ZeroAD. Just play it yourself and give it a whirl. If you love like old school Age of Empires games with a huger focus on like realistic historical combat and like civilizations, then ZeroAD is your best fucking bet on the market. But I feel like I'm also cheating a little bit by allowing ZeroAD on this list, as it has been in development for a long time and you've been able to essentially play around with it for that entire period. So I'm also adding in another RTS game to the list, and that would be Empires Apart. This is a game that in many ways tries to do something different from the Age of Empires games, while also harkening back to that old school, like, historical RTS game type experience, right? You have many different factions in the game that have already been announced and have already been shown off in different gameplay videos, like for example France, the Aztecs, and China, and possibly even more civilizations on the horizon. All these different civilizations have also unique technologies and units attached to them that do radically different things that make the old Age of Empires game seem like, oh wow, the factions were actually extremely similar, instead of being this huge diverse list of civilizations from across time. And so I feel like Empires Apart would be a very special game, especially since it's going for a less historically accurate interpretation of history than that of ZeroAD, obviously. And seeing different faction mechanics that really align with the civilization instead of like unique stats or bonuses. Like for example, faction mechanics like sacrifice that give the Aztecs a lot more personality than that of, like, you know, previous historical RTS games that really, when it comes to unit differences or factional differences, would only change like the stats, like attack or defense or something like that. And so I'm excited to see how Empires Apart plays out, very much so much as ZeroAD as well. God, I should not do this while baked. Number 2 on our list would be Iron Harvest. This was a game that I actually put on the number 1 slot for the top upcoming strategy games of 2017 list. However, I've instead brought it down to number 2, and that was because the number 1 slot of this list was just so fucking good. But at the number 2 slot, Iron Harvest is a Men of War, Company of Heroes inspired game, and, well, it basically has giant mechs attached to it, and it's the best fucking thing ever. Holy shit. You get to see mechs from a diesel punk type of interpretation. Now, diesel punk is like steampunk in that it's focused on diesel technology instead of like steam technology. And so you're seeing these giant lumbering mechs fight each other, attaching bayonets to guns and then stabbing one another. It's fucking amazing. Gundam, but with bayonets. Actually, Gundam did have bayonets. Ah, fuck me. But anyway, basically, back to the point here is that we're having a game that combines Men of War and Company of Heroes game mechanics with that of a diesel punk fantasy historical RTS setting. And who can't fucking love that? Now, there's not a lot of gameplay attached to this game. In fact, it's still in development and maybe was announced a little bit too early. But just from the gameplay trailer that we're seeing right now, with mechs fighting infantry, I gotta say, I fucking love this game. And the fact that it also takes place right after World War I is cool, because you get to see, like, different nations that are both, like, familiar but also completely alien. And I'm pretty stoked for this. Alright, before we show off the number 1 slot, let's get away with the nominations first and foremost. Okay, for the first nomination, we have Age of Empires 4. Now, this is a controversial one, and a lot of people have already put Age of Empires 4 as the top upcoming RTS game to look out for 2018. But, guys, let's be fucking honest here. No, we haven't seen any goddamn gameplay, and the guys who are making it are Relic Entertainment, who haven't done a very good job with Dawn of War 3, so we'll have to see how this plays out, but I wouldn't so much get your hopes up just yet. The second nomination would be Jurassic World Evolution, from what I can tell from the trailer, a tycoon game where you're basically managing your own Jurassic World theme park. And that would include probably breeding different dinosaurs, building their enclosures, keeping them happy, all that stuff, while also attracting people to your theme park and shit like that. I'm pretty stoked for it, but unfortunately still, there's not a lot of gameplay attached to it, so I really couldn't put it on this list, and I'm not that excited for dinosaurs to go like, damn, I gotta put this on the list, so there is that. Also, the lack of combat makes me wham. Like, I love combat in my RTS games. If I don't have combat, there better be a good fucking reason. Next would be Total War Warhammer 2. Now, there's been tons of fucking footage on this game. this has been the most like showcase strategy game in this entire list, and I gotta say, like, I'm only putting in the nomination because I'm not really that excited for it. I don't really like what was it, Dark Elves or High Elves. I do love Skaven and Lizardmen, so I am pretty excited for them, pretty stoked for them. But I'm more so interested in this game when it actually interacts with the old world Total War Warhammer 1 and seeing how Total War Warhammer 2 and Total War Warhammer 1 play out between each other. Obviously, if you want to go for a more informative opinion on the Total War series, you can watch like Serial Beliefs, he's my boy, and he'll give you like maybe a more educational and factual opinion on Total War Warhammer 2. But for me, at least, I'm hoping for later interpretations of the game to be a little bit more exciting. Also, give me Arabian Tomb Kings. On the number 1 slot, we have They Are Billions. This was a game that was able to usurp Iron Harvest because, honestly, with the gameplay we've been seeing, I'm just more stoked for this game. I mean, look at it. You're defending against billions of zombies with only a few thousand soldiers, managing your resources, and also developing technology in order to fight against all these fucking zombies. Now, if they were able to throw in PvP attached to this game and also co-op PvE, where you're like maybe 8 different factions for, you know, for my first example, maybe you're 8 different factions, right? And on top of like trying to be able to, you know, destroy each other, you have to also defend against the zombies. So maybe you can lure the zombies to attack you, or you can maybe help out one person and make an alliance and have a trade agreement and then fight against everybody else. That would be dope. Or just maybe, you know, having 8 of your friends team up against like a zombie horde. That would be incredible. Combining PvP and PvE gameplay would be just dope. And also the different zombie types and the different villages that you can forge through. I think this is like Era Zombie Invasion, but the standalone version, and probably way better considering that it doesn't look like things are lagging right now at all. So I think, wow, if this can finally be a game that doesn't get me like a lot of goddamn lag while also showing off billions of zombies, I'm stoked, and you should be too. And that would be the list for my upcoming RTS strategy games of 2017 to 2018 list. Again, I'll make a new list probably in the future that will dictate the top upcoming strategy games of 2018 and 2019 list. Getting you guys a little bit of an idea of what I'm excited for my channel, while also on top of this getting you guys excited for it, and also getting you guys to stop asking me these questions on my Discord. That way, instead of like answering these questions, I can just go like, hey guys, you want to know what I think? Go to this video right here. And so that would be it. I hope you guys enjoyed the list, and if you disagree with it, then please let me know down in the comments below. Bye bye. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, but if you want to support the channel, then join in on the Patreon as well as on Discord, where you can join in on some gaming sessions. Bye bye.